We got MSI on our hands. I can't wait to start coverage of this. This is exactly what I want professional League of Legends to look like, with lane swaps, rotations, everything that we talk about. Just people are finally starting to press into that next gear, that next evolution of how to play this game. So can't wait to see it. We got a home crowd behind Top Esports. You can see them going nuts right there. I'm expecting a pretty quick blowout here against Team Liquid, but you know, TL has had some nice lane phases. They are the team that could withstand this. Maybe Yeon needs to be able to get through the mid game without giving it up, but Impact might be a stage down against I mean, he just is a level down from 369, and APA is also a step down from Cream. And I haven't seen him do anything that Tian hasn't done in the past. So I think that they're kind of just gapped, if we're being honest, and we'll see if they're able to get it. So right off the bat, we're going to look at the lane situations, which wards. You can already see that we've got a whole line of wards being placed out to try to see all the rotations. They're trying to get themselves away from the Kalista lane and into the Cassante. Lucian is going to come online at level 3 and he'll dominate. Once they get to level 3, they'll be happy to come back over. Still, Kalista is not a lane that you're like super excited to be into, especially with the new discovery of the serrated Dirk builds that are just poking people out and rending them from like 60% health. So it's been kind of crazy to watch. There we go. Good job. Look at this. Is zoning him out. You see him dash in to try to get some of that XP. Leeches a little bit, and then because they pull the aggro, it's going to draw some of the minion attention, which means their minions will focus fire. This will start pushing into Cassante, and it'll be his job to try to survive this. Now, here's the question. What are the adaptations? They don't want to put Urgot in bot lane, so they're going to move Urgot along with the jungler, and they're power creeping the jungler, and this should turn into a 4-man dive in topside. But it looks like they do see it spotted out right now. Cassante is going to sniff out the play and says, I'm going to rotate over. We're going to try to get some moves into bot lane. We're going to try to crash bot and try to do the opposite, right? They're going to go 4 people top. We'll go 4 people bottom. I could even start helping the Maokai. Not that Maokai needs any help, but when you talk about getting the maximum here, neither of these players brought Demolish, which is kind of interesting, right? We've seen lanes that when you know that they're going to try to lane swap away from you, you can bring that Demolish and say, hey, like, let's go. We're going to demolish this thing, break down these plates super early. Small thing that you want on these dives or when you're taking the turret, you want only one person taking the first plate and then bringing the 3 people to take the second, right? You don't want to have these bulwark or fortifications amplifying. Hold on. Oh, APA jumping in right at the moment that Tian is showing up, but using the Tristana mechanics. 4th shot on the bomb gets you the reset and he jumps out. So you want that minimal fortification, right? And then once the fortifications go up and there's only one stack because one player was nearby, then you bring the other 3 players in, you take the second plate, and preferably you should start proxying the next wave so you can get a fast back off of that situation, get stronger right away, and then not miss anything. Right now they've gone for a big stack and they're going for 3 plates off the bat. We'll see whether or not there's a item threshold that they're going for, but this comes at the cost of this wave coming back, and potentially if the enemy team rotates, they can actually shove this in and you end up losing minions. So we'll see that one of the big deficits that they have, Urgot's going to be a little bit lower. Of course, Urgot is happy to play against Cassante. This is something that Bwipo did a lot, and everyone had 2 weeks to sort of see his Bwipo in his Urgot in action. The dreaded way is in the metagame. You're going to play for mid-game spike here and here, and then scale into your way as a control mage. This team comp is basically perfect. Everything that you want. Sejuani is going to be super aggressive in the jungle. You've got plenty of lockdown. Lucian's going to dominate the mid game. If there is a point of strength, right, this mid game of 80 carries, you can front load the damage. It's going to be very difficult to play later, where Kallista's going to have a tough time getting in and out of fights. You're going to have to find like the perfect situation with Cassante maybe flanking, Maokai getting a good sort of T-bone engage, so you get the tendrils going across the team while Cassante gets in on them, or forcing them to stack up, thus making the Renata ult. This is one of the synergies that we look for. Renata plus Maokai is great. I tend to want Yone in that situation because Yone is the best champion at scooping up enemy team from long range when they stack up against the tendrils. So right now, Team Liquid doing just fine in these rotations. K'Sante is going to be slightly ahead of Urgot, and Kalista is going to be slightly ahead of Lucian because of these spots. So, you know, we'll see if they can get enough from it. We're talking about Vamp Scepter and Boots compared to just a Kerchius Shard being purchased here. But there is a Doran's Blade in the inventory of the Lucian, so they're going to feel very good right now. I'm sort of surprised, not going to lie, this Vamp Scepter early, saying like, hey, we're looking to go for little chip trades and I want to be able to scoop it back up. I want to be able to get my HP back up. But as far as all-in pressure, it's going to be much less damage. They're not getting as much as they otherwise could have. All right, flash forward from Yeon. I love it. Make the play happen. Try to go full strength. Everyone should go in. Maokai does not go with the call. Umti calling bailout. Why did you not flash in there? He was worried. I guess he's worried about the flash in response from Lucian. Nice early heal from Mako. So that ends up just being a flash down for Kalista. Everything else is going to be coming up at about the same time. Now, Sejuani being boosted in this jungle, you see that Urgot can't really be punished by the K'Sante, and in fact, just having this range advantage means he gets to dictate the wave state, even though he was down a level for a moment. So really, really nice props to Top Esports. All the other teams are going to want to see how they did this lane swap, where they just came out ahead everywhere. Right, Sejuani got power leveled. Urgot came into lane and is now just taking over because he has plated steel caps and somehow K'Sante never got a shot in. Wei just has the advantage over Tristana because Sejuani got power leveled and got to come through the lane, and then Lucian Nami doing just fine for themselves, getting more CS somehow in this situation where they're the team who had to move. So this is already looking like GG in favor of the Chinese team. It's just an operational tempo that we do not expect from the NA. We expect it from the NA teams, but they just haven't shown it. But they do get first blood, so they get something for themselves. A little rotation up in top lane, trying to punish Urgot. Urgot's going to pick up Cull because of all these bouncing waves. Also, just the best like single item you can get here. Some people will get tier. I have seen tier Manamune. Cull feels better. You don't get the full value. They did mitigate that from the W activating. You don't get the full on-hit value of the healing. All right, Lucian's exceptionally strong here. Hits 6. They play for the level up spike. They go into his face. This is just going to favor them completely. Easy win. Now get out of vision, and you clean it up. They get the double kill for themselves. Bot diff. Lucian, one of the reports on Top Esports is you can't give Jackie Love this champion. Jackie Love is one of the most veteran players in the tournament. I'll have to check this, but I think he's the third most veteran after Faker and Knight. But I'll have to check on that. Maybe Impact, actually. Impact, I believe, almost definitely, now that I think about it. Tristana, 3 bans. Shut up. Ha. LOL. Careful, Tian. Don't end. Wow, the North American teams, this is just their style. You know what? Props to them. If they're saying, hey, this isn't their game, this is our game, maybe I can make them get off their game. But at the same time, like, you know, you don't do this in pro sports for a reason. Right? My opponents are great. You guys are great. You look good. Oh man, they're playing so good. They've got a dangerous defense. They really have interesting schemes. Their coaches are good. You prop them up. Don't give them any reason to want to play their hardest. Right? Most people are not capable of getting to 100% by themselves. They normally go up to 95, and that's where they are a pro. Okay? And then if you piss them off and you get their focus up that dial, you just turn that dial, just squeeze it to the top, that's when you get the most out of them. And maybe in a best of 5 you can say maybe it's worth exhausting them, but it's not worth the confidence gain that they're going to get from utterly destroying you in this game. Hopefully, if TL is going to do this, I want them to take it all the way, right? I want them to trash talk every game. I want them to go into next game and be like, dude, you barely even won and you started the game plus 2k, you know, like something like that. But honestly, that's not my brand. I'd rather congratulate my opponents, give myself something to prove rather than giving them something to prove. So now we have this lane, right? Post level 6, you're going to be very strong here. Renata doesn't have access to her ultimate, although Renata's ultimate is kind of fake until level 11. Once it's level 11 and you get that extra attack's worth of downtime, that's when it really matters. Tian power leveled, gets the early Knight's Vow as well, so he's going to play through the game. Just everywhere he goes, he can give that buff around. A little bit easier to pass Knight's Vow and a little bit stronger than it was in the past. So we're going to see them trying to play for strength of Sejuani and Lucian for the time being. Urgot's going to be just fine as well, surviving that lane against Cassante. You see that Cassante bought the Bramble Vest. Bramble Vest is an interesting answer into Urgot because it hard counters the W. Oh, Nami got it. She doesn't want to throw the ultimate. They're like, yeah, we don't need it. Great show of discipline here from Top Esports. You don't need this kill. You could reach, you could get more, but at what cost, right? Then you're coin flipping at that point and saying, hey, we've got a weighted flip, but why not just outskill you and we're going to continue getting these advantages that we've gotten for ourselves anyways. Worth pointing out the Static Shield build from Lucian. We've seen a couple of Serrated Dirk builds. We've seen a couple of early Navori Rapid Fire builds, going second and third item. We've seen Kraken Slayer, but I believe this is probably going to be Rapid Fire Cannon second into Navori. There is a little bit of a power dip if you do it that way, but it becomes so easy to play your champion. Maokai using the E to get vision of his camp so he can clear just a little bit faster. Now, one of the things at Top Esports you'll notice about their ward line, they are not trying to do anything. And this seems to be a coaching point. Look at their ward line. How many wards have we actually seen on the enemy side of the river? And is this an exploitation versus NA saying, we are just better than you, we don't need to take any risks, we will just make flat lines and draw a line of scrimmage and beat you on our half. And just be better on each other's line of scrimmage. We don't need to blitz. We don't need to make any sort of extra aggressive play. And that would be an interesting adaptation and one that I would recommend against any NA team. It's like, we outclass you. There's no reason for us to try to get into a scrappy game. Team Liquid made it through the NA playoffs playing scrappy. So I love to think that this is because of the coaching staff. You know, that would be wonderful to see that level of adaptation. Nice job by Jackie dashing forward to cleanse just so he can deal more upfront damage. Knows that he's got all the bonuses, plenty of move speed. He's already a full item ahead. Very nice play. So yeah, if it's the coaching staff saying, hey, Team Liquid made it through North American playoffs by scrapping, and they even said it in post-game interviews, they're like, we win scrims, and in games we win and then say, let's take it slow, and then somewhere make a mistake. Let's just not take it slow. Let's just go full speed, full throttle all the time. And if that's the case, then the correct exploitation to someone being overly aggressive is to say, okay, I'll just wait. In poker, you would do the same thing. Like, okay, you're playing super aggressive. All right, I will bluff harder over the top because I know you'll fold sometimes, but also I can just wait and play for better value when it comes up, and just eventually you're going to bet into me when I have the nuts, and you're going to keep on betting because that's what you do, and that's what wins for you over time, and that's what you think is good enough, and that's what this sort of strategy is, right? You see how big they are. They're already 2k ahead. They've got level advantages. They're playing for turret damage, but still none of the wards are any further up, right? It's just covering their flanks here to see any sort of flank angle from the Maokai. Lucian's strongest AD carry for the mid game. He's going to control this mid wave. They're going to use it to control all the objectives. They're already up 2 dragons. Rift Herald will be theirs. They'll save the Rift Herald and presumably use it at the timing for the 3rd dragon. Use Lucian to secure that as well. And I believe that they're going to have top and mid turrets to themselves. And honestly, like, looking at the team comp overall, where's the magic damage, right? Like, this doesn't feel like the game where you're supposed to go Merc Treads and Knight's Vow on Maokai. Right, you don't have that first item demonic embrace the way you used to. Although Leandri's is, you know, kind of close, Riftmaker kind of close to it in general, but there is actually no magic damage coming out. We're going base level spells from Maokai and a base level spell from Tristana, right? A little bit of Renata damage. That's it. So it's going to be very, very easy for these two beefcakes to just bruise up, get their plated steel caps, stack an armor item. For Urgot, you'll probably see it second after Black Cleaver. And then he'll just sit there. They are not on the current patch, so this is not the buffed Death Stance, so I don't expect to see that. But it might be something like Black Cleaver, Sterix Gauge into Thornmail or something of the likes. They have 0 damage, period. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, these guys need to be in attack range for this comp. And you can back it up with Renata, but you're going to get outranged, you're going to get outzoned, and you have more threat from the Lucian no matter how you cut it. And basically nothing that Team Liquid has done this game has given them any winning chances. So here we go. First buff, they're going to go for the damage up front. Lucian is ahead of the team. This would be the situation that Renata could get the best possible out. So actually, this is one of the better situations Team Liquid could get. They do get an upfront kill. Callista gets the first one. This is one of the better spots. Urgot's going to get into this fight. They should be okay to hold here, but I like what Team Liquid is doing, right? This should be a bait. Bait for the spell. Yep. So bait, you take some hit, but they, oh my gosh, they just get chewed up by the Rumble Ultimate. Coven Nami says my kill. All right, so, you know, a sign of life there from Team Liquid. That was top esports playing against their own narrative. That was them saying, like, no, let's take a fight in this quarter. That's the opposite of what they've been declaring all game. Yes, they're bigger, but they haven't shopped since this turret and this turret went down. So that's a lot of standing gold in the inventory. We're talking about the rest of a completed rapid fire cannon for Jackie Love. So this right here, this quarter, that's too far. That's playing too much into the hands of Team Liquid. So we have seen that from this team. Live or die by Jackie. That's been his shtick his entire pro career. You know, pushing the limits. We appreciate him when the team's playing well around him and when he finds those good spots. But man, look at that. Everything from Wei. All right, we see the rapid fire done from Lucian. They're pushing up into the middle of the map. Now they can take their lead and start expressing it a little bit more. They've got even more gold lead and the 3 dragons. So really they're working with like a 6k gold advantage plus the spikes that they have. They are trying to reconvene themselves right here. We do have Renata dealing some damage to her teammates, but again, Jackie Love's going to deal the maximum damage here. Nice moving, dodging on the outside of the fight. They do get one up front. APA diving in. I love it. If they can move this fight to that side, they'd be okay. But Callista doesn't get the memo. Callista is low, right? Threat was there, but you have to play to the absolute limit at every single moment. If you're the one bailing out, then your whole team's going to die. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. It doesn't look like signs of life. It's signs that top esports might make a mistake is more over what it is. And that's sort of Jackie's, like I said, Jackie Love's entire pro career. He's had these moments where he's always pushing the limits and sometimes he oversteps. And, you know, if he gets caught 37% of the time overstepping, they're still winning largely over time if they're getting enough out of those times that he's being aggressive. It tends to work out for them. This team has looked very good in China, but, you know, in what world is it going to be enough? I like this play here from Team Liquid. Try to surprise them. Control ward is good. Probably should have just popped out. It was good to get the damage in. All right, so what they're doing with that, the ward stopped seeing them. Now, they have split calls here. They left the ward at 1 HP. this is the worst of all worlds, right? If you're going to stop, you can say, all right, let's kill this ward. They saw us. Now they have to wonder whether or not we're still here. Then you can back out. You force 4 people to come to the pit, and then you can potentially get in a situation you sort of draw their rotation in. But instead, they stay hitting it for a while, then don't kill the ward. Then that results in just the ward dying for them. They lose their control ward. They lose everything. They limp back into their own quadrant. And this is what we saw from Team Liquid that was awful during the entire year. Whew. Big damage here. That's what we see. Dash forward, dash auto, Q and R from Lucian, getting the maximum upfront first strike damage. Stanny, if you're watching, take a peek at that. That was insane. This game is not going to be long. Now, interesting thing here from Callista, right? So we've seen the serrated Dirk Callista build, and that one has laned better and has been much more threatening. It's a little bit worse on the first full item, slightly opportunity, only slightly worse than Blade the Rune King for overall threat. But how are you going to survive to attack long enough in Callista range against Sejuani Urgot Lucian? Right? There's like no world where this happens. Maybe they can press forward, try to bait out a fight, use the Renata W as Tristana's coming in and Maokai's coming, trying to close the gap with the ultimate going. But it just feels discordant, right? And this team, you know, I just hate this comp in general. I guess we'll just enjoy top esports fundamentals, their technique for ending right now. You see the wards, they're actually playing for both quadrants right now. You see that they've lit up bushes on the way to Baron. So normally we don't go for bushes all the time, but at the same time right now, they're saying the only way we could lose is to a trap. So let's ward out against potential traps. And then on this side, they've got the control ward deep under the southern quadrant, so make sure that they see any kind of angles. This can be a free Cloud Dragon, and now the best Drake that they could possibly have from a winning position. This allows you to rotate faster, it allows you to push around the map, and it mitigates some of the weaknesses of Urgot and Lucian when you can just fly around the fights and you can fly around the map. Alright, so if I'm Team Liquid and I'm trying to find a way to do this, what am I trying to do? Unfortunately, there's not enough range or wave clear or even just AoE threat. Like, you don't have the control mage to really control this pit at all, so you have no business defending against Baron. That said, one of your best chances would be to try to get an all-in, try to steal a Baron and take a fight by just not even coin flipping, but trying to get a Baron steal at that last moment, getting Maokai to dash through, flash over the wall, smite, use W to disjoint something. If they're going to accomplish that, that means that they somehow need to get vision in this area. To do that, that means you'd have to put 1 person bot split pushing and 4 people up in top, get people out of mid, swing by mid just long enough to clear the wave, but then bring the people back up. So Tristana would be on the job of clearing both these waves. You might have to give up this middle inner turret, but if you do, then you completely lose track of the map. And once this goes down, there's really going to be no way to stop top esports from just taking control of this entire quadrant. But right now they're getting zoned out, and now there's nothing for them either, right? They can come over in this spot. Now they've gained nothing for themselves. They have to take this fight. This has to be the one. Tristana doesn't have a teleport angle though. All right, they've baited out the teleport. I say bait it out, but it's going to push. Tristana is in the best spot here. Say, all right, I'm going to take the maximum. I'm not bluffing, right? This is an all-in from Tristana. And now with this teleport coming, you might be able to come over and squeeze a fight, but Urgot's going to try to just swing by and chase the Tristana all over. He's too strong here. He's so fast. Look at that with the cloud. and culling just on the left side. You see both fights. You see the strength of the Cloud right now. It completely mitigates. It mitigates all of our God's weaknesses. Flashing forward. The ult just... No, there we go. It didn't cool down. It was perfect timing. Look at how healthy everyone is. Like, they didn't even make a dent, right? And you're not going to when you're this far if you play this way. You need to try to find some point of strength. It's obviously super cursed right now. No, you know, this is fine. This is fine. You take this because what better fight are you ever going to possibly get than the chance for like a Renata to get the bailout going and to swing that fight, right? There's not going to be better situations coming up than to try to catch 369 with no ultimate. So a little mechanic right here that they're doing, you want to get 4 attacks off and then attack move. All right, so when you're turning on your W, at the end game, you can do it for 3, but I like to do it for 4 because it's very smooth, it's buttery smooth, and it allows you to get an extra hit off in your pattern. If you just keep your W on, it'll go and hit. If you go 4 hits and on the 4th hit you cancel and you immediately attack move click, then it'll cancel. You will start your attack and then you can reactivate. And you basically just cancel your wind up on your own auto attack. And that way you can get an extra attack off. You see that he was doing it there. It also gives you that slight little reprieve where you're not going slow. And you could see from 369 that he was buttery smooth on that Urgot movement. What a blowout. Things to look forward to in game 2. I don't know. I don't think there were many. The draft was not good. They didn't play optimally in the lane swaps. Callista played for a safe item when she's supposed to be the biggest threat on the entire map. Yeah. I can't say there's anything that I care for TL to replicate in this game. Everything was just done like we're happy to be here and we're happy to get smashed by a real League of Legends team. Love this lane, by the way. Orange Senna. Not new. We've seen it before. It's been played in 3 different regions, 3 of the major regions that we've seen. And the scaling is just formidable, right? Like, how do you play through the scaling? You've got Twisted Fate to be an aggressive top laner, Xin Chao to go help that. He's also going to try to streamline the lanes here for the scalers in Corki and Senna. Mako's got his teleport, so he's going to be the one farming. Senna's going to be playing for stacks, and this is one of the best compositions you can put together for them. They did get the Lucian ban to see whether or not they could beat this player on any champion, but there's so many reported, you know, must bans against Jackie Love. At this point, you're better off just not banning any of them and seeing if you can target someone else out. Interesting here for the Aurelion Soul versus Corki. Corki can go toe-to-toe by putting his E on and just going first strike, trying to proc that against the Aurelion Soul and going up. It'll be Soul's prerogative to try to get these Comet procs off as much as possible. You're going to see him tapping it. And we don't see APA doing that as much. I'm sure that he will later. But you saw from Chovy, for example, the micro movements where it was tap Q, tap Q, tap Q, right? You're trying to get your Comet, Mana Flow Band, and Scorch all to go off together. Was he going to lose that? I want to watch this. How much information do they have on junglers here? So they know Rek'Sai's bottom. They see Xin Zhao here. So Rumble knows that he's good for a trade, right? And this extended trade does favor him all day long, even through this exhaust, right? That damage is coming through. You get the stun. Yeah, he's just playing with no cooldowns. Okay. He's saying, I've got nothing left. I can't overheat. Well done by Twisted Fate, playing right into his minion wave and dealing the maximum amount of damage back there. This is a good spot for him, too, because you've got Xin Zhao going to be there slightly faster, able to threaten from distance. We'll see if we get a yellow card into a long-distance Xin tag with Wind Becomes Lightning. 2 wards out here for themselves. They have to play against Rek'Sai, so they are warding into that corridor, make sure that they can't get dashed over the wall. All right, Umti's going to go for it. I like it, right? You have to make this play work. Why did Rumble not flash first, though? Okay. If Rumble flashes right away and starts that play with Harpoon and Flash and the Spitter, you get that kill immediately with little damage being returned, and then you could take that and return it. Instead, they have some amount of damage kicked back at them, and that's enough for the return kill. Now, Xin Zhao is going to be springboarded through this game. He should be able to take over the mid game from here. What are you doing, Core? No, 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 no. You don't win this. All right, good flash. If it's all a bait, then it's worth. If it was all a bait, then it's worth. One more. Flash is down. He plays for exactly the last auto attack. Saves everything to the last possible moment. All right, nice bait by Core. I guess we have to give it to him. If they don't play that all the way, then they just get a walking advantage. All right, Xin Zhao hasn't shopped yet, so he's doing this on no extra spikes. We do have the chain CC, though. Will he have enough damage? He does. He gets the second round of cooldowns, and it's enough to blow this lane up. And now Impact is going to be buried out of this lane. Look at the size of this minion wave. That's why he goes for the play. Xin Zhao's going to get his back off right now. Twisted Fate's going to freeze this lane, and Rumble is going to miss out on 2 entire waves. So we're going to have a full level discrepancy in top lane, and that's going to be enough for Twisted Fate to look to zone. The only thing Rumble can try to do is make sure that he's facing Twisted Fate with a Flame Spitter on as he gets stunned, and that's really the only play for himself. We'll see if Rek'Sai gets summoned over to try to break this up. I probably want to wait till they hit 6. Twisted Fate obviously with no extra value from his level 6. Yeon's playing too safe. Yeon's being zoned right here. You see this position? This is wrong. He's out of range of Jackie Love, meaning that both people are hitting his lower health player, whereas he's hitting their higher health player. We've seen that before from Yeon, and now they're just burning 105 gold in experience. Okay, perfect. Same thing that he did last game, right? You're not chasing for the kill that you know you can come get later. It's just starting with a stun, right? You come walk up, Orange just chunks it out. China is so rehearsed on their tower dives that they know when they are going jab, they know when they're going uppercut, and they know when they're going haymaker, right? Like, that is something that the NA regions, you know, even in Europe, they just don't do it enough. Europe has started to get into that level. We see G2 and Fnatic playing for those early scraps and practicing these high, you know, mechanical dive plays. Good job by Rumble. Is he going to get out? It's going to be close. Yeah, he's got it. Just out of range. So they're able to break the wave, and that's due to Xin Zhao showing up on bottom. I absolutely love that Rek'Sai went for that. This also breaks the freeze and gets them everything that they wanted. So if Top Esports were looking to secure this a little bit further, they would try to set up some amount of defense. When you're freezing, you're fine being weak side, but you have to realize what the threat level is coming in onto you. It does take a lot of resources, right? It's an extra 45 seconds the enemy team needs to use on their top laner and jungle. They do end up getting the maximum punish in the bot side. In an ideal world, you'd be able to hold that freeze, survive, and just pull back. Realize that you're being dove at the World Championship. We've seen this laner drop back all the way down to the bush of their inner turret just to avoid this play. and give nothing back, right? It's not the end of the world if they get the wave back under the turret, because you are 1 versus 2 and you are going to die as Twisted Fate versus Rumble Rek'Sai, and you know that your team's already securing the advantage down here. What's up, Gio? How you doing? Salutations. Nice big stacked wave here from Corky, opting not to go for any chip damage here on the turret. Probably could have reached for a plate. Not the end of the world. These guys, you'll see that they do not stress themselves for plates at all, right? They're just not going to take it if it means for any sort of meaningful residual effect. Impact needs to realize that he's not strong there. Not going to that river. This is going to be only chip damage. This is only going to work out for a plate. They can work. They can't even contest the Void Grubs here because they've got Twisted Fate that can just rotate down. So just the threat, they can move away. You see that China, again, being very happy to say, we don't need to play full throttle against Team Liquid. We can go for simple trades. We can allow you to just overplay and make mistakes. But Team Liquid is getting Smolder alone in a lane against the Ornn. The problem is that Ornn doesn't really even care, right? This damage is not going to stick. It's not enough to actually whittle him down. He even has access to the Summoner Spellbook, so he can swap into something apart from the teleport to give himself some amount of combat pressure. And you know, make no mistake about it, this is lethal threat here is against the Smolder, not against the Ornn. We might even see it right now. We don't have Flash. We do have Ignite though. All it takes is one little chip, one little mistake, and we're going to see an ult from Ornn. All they need to do is get information on the jungler to make sure that he's not there to go for a play. But again, like we said, Top Esports saying, we're going to win if we just play it slow. We do not need to make any rush plays. We don't want to accidentally get into a spot where we can't quite reach the rest of the carry and we end up taking all of the Nautilus chunk and we have a rotation from Asol or from Rek'Sai, not to mention the teleports. That issue will get exacerbated at level 10. We've got 3 teleports here from Team Liquid, so what I want to see is a lot of cross-map pressure, trying to take as many fights at the same time as possible and say, all right, we'll swing our teleport numbers. Oh boy. This is off script. 369 is playing super aggressively while his team is in bot lane, but the Q misses and means Rek'Sai's not going to be able to follow up. That was off script, all right? That's, again, we see this team getting a little bit impatient. They're like, guy, we're so much better than them, right? Like, we can just kill them here. And they know they can, but the worst case scenario is you commit to a fight here and you have Aurelion Sol teleporting on top of you, for example. So, like, right now, Aurelion Sol, get off your turret. I don't care about the minions. Right now, it looks like, all right, he is going for the teleport. He's saying, you guys have committed. We're going to go the rest of the way. Let's try to swing this. We've got Rumble and Sol. We'll trade back and get stacks onto the Sol. Hey, that Rumble ultimate. It's such high damage, and they're going to be okay with this overall. But, like, if that Rumble ultimate were actually accurately placed in this corridor, then they would have been better off. They would have 100% gotten the rest of these kills. Q's coming up. 2, 1. No, he just goes to the W. There he goes. Hey, take it. I love it. See, now they know. Now they can continue scrapping because they know the death timers. They know they're strong enough to continue fighting, and this is where they take the limit. They are counting the cooldowns for Rumble to get back in the fight. Very well done by China. If that ultimate were through that corridor at the right angle, then we might have actually seen an ace in favor of Team Liquid, probably with 2 people surviving, and they would have a chance in this game. As it stands, they're down 3k, and Xin Zhao is absolutely enormous with a completed Sundered Sky, so this is going to be a tough ask. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Beautiful spring day here. It's 77 and sunny all day today. May is my favorite month. Absolutely love it. Just mowed the grass, and you know, you get that first mow of the year, and just all those smells in the yard, everything coming out and about, just feels good to get your hands dirty. Garden's looking great. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in Team Liquid because this is what is already expected, right? Like, the NA is not close to the level of Europe, let alone China and Korea. and they seem to think that they're fine playing the way they are. They don't know to play at a higher level, is what it seems like. This ultimate, look at this. If this ultimate, you could just move down a quarter step, like a Teemo over, so it's actually going through the path, and they would have to cross it to get out, then this would have been a clean ace for them. Instead, you end up with a long reach. This, I mean, Soul's going to get stacks. He's going to be big, but it's just not enough. But there's just no world that NA playing at the level that they're playing it, they're not going to compete. They are a middle region, you know, a medium region. If you don't want to call them a minor region, which, you know, if you're comparing them to what's major and everything else is minor, then yeah, they're minor. And based on viewership and everything else about it too, right? Like, we don't stand to Korea and China. It's not close. And nothing that Riot Games in LA is doing is going to inspire confidence in the teams to want to innovate, right? They all think that if anything's good, it'll get patched out. So we might as well just copy what other people are doing. It means they're always going to be on the back foot. They're never, ever first to any new skill. And even when you're applying the thing that you've seen, you're seeing it after they've practiced it for a month, right? You're going to be behind every single metagame, every international tournament. I would put the over-under at 1 for any amount of wins for North American teams at international events at this point. I don't expect them to beat anyone. So, you know, it is what it is. We go through this, we try to break it down. There's a nice ultimate. Could have been placed a little bit further up, though. Again, it's one of those situations where's the fight going to go? And you want that ultimate to be aimed in such a way that it's mitigating that. Very, you know, if that ult's right here to here, then at least you give them a tough decision. Do I run? It's hitting everybody, and it's forcing them to say, do I want to go back, or do I want to continue walking with no flashes, walking through the rest of this? Nice little play there by Cream, by the way. What you see, that animation from Corki, or the move from Corki matching up with the animation from Rek'Sai, when they're dodging, they're not just randomly dodging, right? You'll do a little bit of jittering to go, you know, 37-degree shift just to wiggle back and forth like this. But when you actually see an animation is when you see them right angle turn, right? So you go from this amount of like undulation, let me just flap my tail and wiggle a little bit, but the moment I see an animation is when I'll do a full right angle turn. And that's what you see from Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai's facing you, and you see this come up, and you're like, okay, this might be like the animation of him shooting his Q. And the more you play with each character, you see that level where the animation comes out, and then you dodge, right? There was who did we see at the end of last summer? It was Dokla. Dokla is chasing Ari on Cassante, and he's low health, all out. And he's chasing the Ari, so Ari's running away. You don't need to juke at all. You wait until the model turns, and the moment the model turns, you know that she's cast her E. She wouldn't be turning for any other reason. So at that moment is where he sidesteps, easily cleans up the kill from there. That's what these guys are doing to try to get the most frames of uptime. There is so much empty space in the equalizer. Yep. Thanks, man. Take it easy on your day. I'll catch you later. Thanks for swinging by and saying hi. It is double elimination, so we are going to have Team Liquid get a chance to play probably against a European team, but we'll see. I haven't actually seen all of the draws pulled out, and whether or not, I think that they're doing a random draw, right? To go into the second pool. It's just not all scripted out right now. It should be. Everyone should have a spot already, but I'm not sure that they do. Beautiful. Down 7k here. Trying to play for the double dragon scaling. Rek'Sai going a little bit more aggressive with a Titanic build instead of a tank build. I like this, that you have a decent amount of threat from the combinations. You do have a high damage comp. You could blow up a team fight. I just got a little nauseous. A small victory. And we give it back. This is less good than Challenger. I mean, I want to say less good. I expect this level from Challenger's queue. Champions queue. Good positioning there by Mako, seeing that the teleport's coming in, putting himself between the threats. Alright, let's look at the ward lines. 1, 2, 3 wards each for both sides. We've got the tri ward. That one's kind of just sit here forever. They can use that later for the Baron. I feel like they don't. All right, careful of this wall. Team Liquid needs to play aggressive right here in this window right now. This is their only time. If you're ever going to get a moment, it's right now. Nope, they're just letting the damage up in the front. Twisted Fate's in range. Yeah, they're just crushing him with their wallet. There's nothing good about this. Oh, W into flash for Tion. Beautiful. Good call here, right? Good discipline. Two auto attacks on the support and then use the knock up on the Rex side. The teleports come back in. They say, yeah, we'll take this fight. We are flipping enormous. Yeah, I think this is all we need to watch. There's just a there's a glaring talent discrepancy and play discrepancy here. Wait, they got two charges out of this because they activate. Wow, interesting. All right, so they get in it here while it's trained on middle turret. And because they have it here and then the turret dies, they get a bonus charge. So they come over here. I've not seen this. All right, TF is already bringing up the wave. They're going to take over this eastern quadrant, move over, take over all the camps, get the vision. 369 is going to keep the buff. He did over push this wave slightly. You would have preferred to slow push this one so that it could stack up, unless they're feeling that they're strong enough to just take it right now and they're slow pushing on the next stack. And that seems to be the case. So they actually have their timing down to be able to do this. They do have to be careful. There's some disjointing. 3 of the members of the team are recalling, preparing for the dragon while you went for that play. So it is the fastest source of making sure that that turret does go down. And if they're relying on the fact that enemy team does not see us recalling, these 2 people can get this turret quickly. It is the fastest way to get it down, but it did leave a little bit of room for counterplay, something that some other teams might be looking for. Well, so Senna Cork, you're going to siege off the back of this Ornn, right? And right here, this is the closest that you've ever seen the 3 of them together, and you're trying to set up this big wombo. But, like, look at the spacing, right? You see how they're shielding themselves. You've got the... Look how Mako positions himself, just in between everybody, saying, if you want to get into me, then Xin Zhao's immediately going to be in range. We're going to hit you with everything. And unless you get us with all 4 of your ultimates, just stacked one on top of the other, then nothing's going to come up for it. Teamfight positioning is on another tier. This is another thing that the Eastern teams just have over NA. And yeah, there's a huge gap here. I am feeling, unfortunately, I'm feeling kind of nauseous. And it's not from watching this. I don't know what it is. Maybe from going out and getting a little bit too hot. So I'm going to take a little break. Reminder to everybody, get outside is beautiful today. We'll take some breath of fresh air. Make sure you take some time for yourself and enjoy this day, all right? Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of MSI. We'll be following along with the coverage, and we'll see if NA can do any better. But, you know, G2's the real hope from the West, and really I think that there is a huge step up from there to both, all 4 of the Eastern teams. And Top Esports seems like the weakest. You know, we're looking maybe at Top Esports T1, and then Gen G, BLG are on a whole nother tier. The big matchup I'm looking forward to and I want to see is BLG versus T1, because they want it so bad. They want it so bad. They want this payback. Like, this entire season was dedicated to the chance at playing against T1 and to beat them up. I wouldn't be surprised if BLG crushed T1 and then lost to Gen G, just because the focus has been on T1. But what do you think? What's going to be the most exciting match of the tournament? We got like 10 options, right? Korea, China, any of the 4 crosses. Sorry, 6 options there. What's going to be the best game of the tournament? I'm hoping it's BLG T1. I can't wait to watch that, even more than the grand finals. But if it happens in the grand finals, even better. All right, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys next time. As always, keep it surreal. Peace.